Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 12th of June. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have Cochlear, Karoon Energy, Genesis Minerals, Nova Minerals and Zimplats Holdings. So if you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you've signed up to the free newsletter, but our best recommendations come out every Tuesday in the Dynamic Investor Report. So make sure you're getting that report. But if you do enjoy these videos, we'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is in portfolio management. So if you'd like to have a managed account with me, then please let me know. And all the advice here is general only. So we've got the weekly chart here of Cochlear. We could see that since last year, it's been trending lower. So that's pretty clear. Short term though, if I just move to the daily chart, it seems to be forming an inverse head and shoulders. So what I mean by that is you've got this sort of low here, bounce, another low, and then this sort of higher low, and it's building up under this sort of resistance level near 280. This is one we actually had in the Dynamic Investor recently as one to keep an eye on. Basically, a break above 280 is your buy signal, but you know, it might be short term, so you need to run a trailing stop. It might find resistance at 300. Ultimately, it needs to take out the high near 320 for the longer term downtrend to be over, but you know, possibly shaping up for a shorter term trade. Karoon, if we start off with the weekly, we could see here it was trending lower, but since then it's made from this low, you know, we've made a higher low and now a higher high, so looks like that downtrend is over, possibly getting into an uptrend now. If we have a look at the daily chart, so yeah, still just, you know, edging higher, motoring along. Seems like there's a bit of support back here, just under $1.70, sort of $1.67-ish. You know, potentially you could sort of run a really tight stop there. I mean, longer term, it could come all the way back and reverse down here, and you still get another high and low. But yeah, if you're looking for a sort of shorter term sort of perspective, you'd probably have a stop just under here. And it looks like if it can continue higher, I think you'll find a bit of resistance here near $1.90. Okay, GMD, this is one that yeah, I've looked at last year in the Dynamic Investor. There's just sort of a nice trending gold stock with some breakouts along the way. We even covered it in this video. Sort of back in March, just looking at a sort of buy on the dip. Yeah, look, it's still trending. So, you know, you've got your higher highs, your higher lows. Obviously, it's gone up a bit vertically here, so it's always going to give some back. But I think as long as it stays above the May low, you've still got an uptrend. Okay, NVA. So on the daily chart here, we can see sort of short term, you had this, looks like a little bull flag. There was a bit of resistance here. So you had like an upside break, really big volume. It's rallied, it's come back, seems to be testing that zone. So basically, you know, you've got a buy here with a, you know, just run a tight stop. But if it's going to reverse here, that's another buy signal. But longer term, you've got this sort of bottoming pattern. So, you know, even this sort of has a inverse head and shoulders sort of shape about it, this base. So you're looking at a break above that line would be the next sort of buy signal, and then it could potentially do well if that happens. Okay, finally Zimplats. So you've got, well, you had a downtrend. It's broken that on good volume. So the downtrend's over. Short term, look, you've had two big days up. You know, good volume, of course, which is a positive, but you know, it's basically the sort of first big day up on volume was the buy signal. Now that it's done a couple, you need to just, I think, just wait for a consolidation. So, you know, gave up a bit yesterday, and I think, yeah, just any sort of further consolidation if you're looking for a buy signal would be best. Okay, that's all for this week. If you have requests, send it through and I'll try to cover it next Thursday for you.